Hello, everyone. I am coming here today with a bonus episode. This is the first True North Weddings bonus episode, and I hope that it finds you listening at a point in time where the content we're going to talk about today is so timely and valuable. Here's what we're going to talk about. Planning a wedding and holiday hell. Did that totally resonate? Are you about to go to the holidays with your family? You're an engaged couple and you're planning a wedding and you're dreading having to talk about it with all of your loved ones and experience all of the questions, all of the ideas, the total barrage of them wanting to know everything and have opinions. That resonates? That feel like maybe a topic you could really use some advice on today? Then you're in the right place because I'm Mariah and Caitlin, and I have been planning weddings for over 15 years, and I have had so many chats with my clients about how to survive the holidays as an engaged couple. So Caitlin Peters from True North Weddings is going to be here with me, and we're going to really have a productive conversation to get you ready to survive the wedding planning holiday hell. Let's get into it. Welcome to True North Weddings, the podcast that helps you navigate an authentic path to your wedding day. I'm your host, Mariah and Caitlin, and I'm excited to be your guide in finding your true north along the journey of wedding planning. Over the past 15 years, I've collected a wealth of wisdom and experience working with couples to not only plan an incredible wedding day, but also enjoy the process throughout the journey. I'm thrilled to have this podcast to share this knowledge with you. And on the pod, I'll feature love stories, interview wedding professionals, and give you my honest, unfiltered advice on how to follow your true north straight to the altar and enjoy every last minute of the party. So get ready for bold, beautiful, and inspiring real talk about real weddings and real challenges. Promise me you'll bring an open mind and heart as you listen. Your True North wedding is just ahead. Let's go. Hey, Caitlin, I'm so excited to have you here with me today on the True North Weddings podcast to talk about something that both of us have spent a lot of time counseling couples on. How to survive holiday hell when you're planning a wedding. I feel like we always get off calls with our couples and look at each other and are like, yeah, we're in it. We're in the season. And it's every year. It's usually November when it starts to creep up, when those conversations with our couples we're planning with are getting really anxious. They're really feeling like, I'm about to go and see everybody I know and love on both sides. They're going to have so many questions. I'm feeling way behind in my planning, or I'm just not feeling like I want to talk about it. It's not up for discussion, right? Like there's just so much loaded in entering a situation where people are both happy for you. They're excited. They want to talk about it, but also they want to have opinions. It's our family's opinions that are what we're most afraid of, right? Because they're going to potentially influence or change the way that we're thinking or planning for the wedding. So I know that we've both experienced this and we feel in the moment that it's our duty to help our clients have a strategy. So we're going to outline that strategy here today on the podcast, and we're going to equip you with everything you need to go into your holiday gathering enjoying this process.
Yes.
Joy is always at True North Weddings the goal. Like, have fun and enjoy the process of wedding planning, even when there are potential problematic conversations ahead. So I'm going to have Caitlin lead us off with the number one thing that you should remember when going into having conversations about your wedding at the holidays. So, Caitlin, give it to us straight.
Keep it positive. At any little sight of stress or fear or anxiety, your family is going to, in the nicest way, make that 10 times larger.
Heck yeah. They're going to blow that up, and you're going to find yourself like, oh my gosh, I let them smell my fear and they came after it.
It's meant in a supportive way, in a way of like, oh, I hear you. That must be so nerve-wracking. But then it goes on and on and on. And then instead of talking about the fun parts of your wedding,
Yeah.
things that you are excited about, now you're getting into, oh, well, this vendor hasn't emailed me back. I haven't heard from my photographer in a couple months. I wonder when I'm going to get, this detailed figured out. And it just kind of devolves pretty quickly.
And the people you're talking to, your parents, your family members, your dearest friends, like they really care about you and they want to help. People inherently want to support you in your wedding planning journey. They're excited for it. But when they catch this fear in the water, like they want to be problem solvers.
Oh, yes.
They want to insert themselves in a way to solve this problem. And you may not be ready for that. That may not be like the proper time to be having that conversation, like over, Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
You don't have all the information and you say one thing maybe about a vendor that's bothering you. And the next thing you know, like everybody's up in arms about it when it's been misconstrued. So remembering like they do want to help and there's a proper place and time for that of asking for help. That's probably a topic we should for sure cover is like how to actually ask your friends and family for help. But in those moments, you're there to celebrate. So keeping it positive is just so important. Just focus in when they ask you about the wedding on what you're excited about.
Yeah. And it's not that you can't go to your family and friends when you're feeling that fear and anxiety and you want to just kind of unload all of that you're feeling. At your Christmas table with 20 people just maybe isn't the best spot.
That's not the place.
Pick one or two really close family and friends. Go out for coffee. And bring your computer, bring your binder, whatever it is. But I'm sure everyone's been in a large crowd and they bring up a problem they've had. And then every single person in a 5-foot radius, all 30 of them, are now talking to you about it. And it just gets overwhelming.
Yeah. Are you really looking to crowdsource your wedding planning at the holidays?
No.
And you can do it unintentionally. And that's why we're here today is to just kind of prepare you with these tools. Just thinking about where can you lead before you're even asked about the wedding? Where can you lead with the positives? Maybe you can share, hey, I'm so excited about, the vendor that we have hired, this DJ that we've hired. We're so excited about it. It's going to be so much fun.
My photographer's amazing. They did our engagement photos. We loved it so much. And
lead with what you're excited about. Keep it simple. Don't give too much detail because also you want to keep some things exciting and as a surprise for the guests and the people that are coming to your wedding. You don't need to give them all the details. Let that be a little bit of a mystery. And also remember, like, as a couple, and we'll kind of get to this in another tip that we're going to give you today. Really, you need to be consulting with each other first on these stressful moments and not finding yourself looking at each other in this room going, oh my gosh, now we aren't on the same page. And now our relationship is in question. It's just like I can see it go in so many ways that then the couple is now struggling between each other. But at the end of the day, they were on the same page at the beginning. So keeping it positive, really focusing on sharing and using that opportunity to share the things that you're excited about, and build an ambiance of positivity and enthusiasm about the wedding. You got this. You can do this. And it's really amazing what can come out of that. And that kind of leads me to number 2. Number 2 is be a gracious listener.
Yes.
Now, what does that mean? That means people are going to offer you their opinions. Whether you ask for them or not, your auntie is going to want to share with you something she saw on Pinterest.
Or something she did for her wedding.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Really? Back in 1982, that was the trend, huh?
My venue cost $300. Why is yours so expensive? Well, that was 30 years ago.
Right? Unbelievable. Like, I really, you know what? I'm probably going to be that person. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see as I end up, planning weddings myself for kids and family members. But alas, lots of opinions are coming your way. And the advice here, the best thing you can do is just smile and nod graciously.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing.
I'll write that down. Oh, you keep a little notes app on your phone.
100%. You write that down. And right in front of them, you note that.
Yep.
Let me save that pin to my board. Listen.
Yep.
You can delete that later.
Delete it on the drive home.
You do not have to do any of it. But The gracious listening will allow that person who loves you to feel part of your experience, whether you take their advice or not. You don't have to shoot it down in their face. You don't have to get in a fight about whether it's a dumb idea or not. You don't have to belittle their attempt to help you. You can just grin and say thank you and stuff it away to deal with later, or to get rid of later. You don't have to do any of it, but your gracious listening will build the connections and the relationship and the enthusiasm for your wedding amongst the people that you love. They really do just want to help. Like we said in earlier in the episode, like people love you. They want to help. They want to be part of it. They want to contribute.
This just comes from a place of support, and whether it's useful to your wedding or not, that's up for you to decide. But just smiling, nodding, thank you so much. I appreciate you wanting to help. Let me write that down.
Yeah. And you know what? When you write it down, it's going to be really useful. Later, while you're driving home with your significant other, you can review all of the suggestions that were posed to you and have a nice time laughing about it. Have some time, or maybe actually you heard something worthwhile. Like, that's not to say that they couldn't be offering you some really great advice or some really fun ideas. So just collect everything and then unpack that together later after the holiday in a way that is productive and doesn't create any additional anxiety.
And it also, taking that moment to write it down firmly kind of ends the conversation.
Yes.
It's like, thank you so much. I'll write that down.
Received.
Such a good idea. I heard you. Thank you. Next tidbit. Anyone else?
I love it. Start a wedding planning note. I'm sure people already have this, but a note in your phone. So you can just whip out the phone and be like, I'm just going to drop that right in my notes.
All the links, all
be
the
sure
venue
to
names.
invite so-and-so. Yep.
Noted.
We'll look into it, or a vendor that sister mother's best friend has this thing that you need. Let me write it down. Yep. I love that. It's really an effective way to put a bow on the piece of advice they're giving.
And compartmentalize it.
Compartmentalize.
Thank
yes.
you. Yes. Keep it in one space.
I love it. So now you've kept it positive. You've been a gracious listener. What happens when maybe that doesn't? Maybe you haven't been as effective in both of those categories, and now you find yourself really under the thumb of some advice, or having your ideas questioned, or maybe someone has told you they don't like your wedding color palette, or they're, questioning whatever decision that you've made. Now, what do? Here's our third piece of advice. Hold firm, hold steady, and hold on to each other. So often in wedding planning, the saddest part is when the couple is pulled apart, right? Like, you're doing this, you're getting married, you're having a wedding, throwing a wedding for people in order to come together, and yet the experience of it is divisive and is dividing you, and you're being pulled by each of your families in different directions. So if there's one thing that is most important, really, in all three of these, is that you're united and that you stay firm in your connection and your commitment to each other and your values around the wedding day.
Absolutely.
It's sad to think that you could come out of that feeling not united. So having a plan before you even get there.
Not even a long one.
Yeah.
Not even a long one. Just make it quick, simple. Review a couple things. Keep it easy.
Don't
need to go into depth.
The traveling or the gathering or whatever you're doing, wherever you're at, just go in with a plan. Go in with one of those little cues where you're looking at each other across the room and you do one of those little ear tugs or eye winks of
the hair behind the ear,
I need a break, or I'm not loving this advice, or I don't want to talk about it anymore. How can you get each other out of it? Because when you're with each other's families, the way that a family interacts and behaves is often foreign, especially if maybe you don't live near your fiance's family and you're spending a lot of time with them over the holidays, and it's foreign to you. I remember this. I remember experiencing my first holiday with my husband's family and being like, oh, this is not how we do it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And having to figure that out and navigate that as a couple. So maybe that's while you're engaged or earlier in your relationship, this advice still stands. Like, how can you signal to each other like, hey, I need a break, or I need
I need
to
you.
I need you. I
I
need
need you
you.
is
Oh,
essentially what it is.
yes. And I need to reaffirm that what we're here to talk about is not Aunt Susie's advice about wedding planning. It's like here to celebrate the holidays.
Yes.
So I hope that these little snippets of advice, just to recap, number one, keeping it positive. Just lead with what you're excited about. People will follow that. They'll jump on that. They're going to be far less apt to be negative. And you're going to ultimately have better, more productive conversations. Because again, there's some great advice to be gleaned
Mm-hmm.
out of the people that you love. Like they might have some great ideas too.
Mm-hmm.
Being a gracious listener.
Smiling. Thank you. Let me write that down.
Yeah, smile and nod. Write that down. And then holding on to each other, holding steady in your relationship and your plans and holding on to each other. That's really going to cement you in surviving and thriving through a chaotic holiday time. And I want you to think about this advice in the entire process of planning, whether you're in it for 5 weeks or you're in it for 18 months.
Yep.
Go back to this list and remember these 3 things when it comes to having conversations about your wedding with anybody, friends, family, vendors. Like,
Yes.
this is actually advice that's going to help you throughout the planning process, not just over the holidays. And I also like to give clients the advice this time of year. So typically we're in a cycle of you've made, like if you're having a summer wedding or you're having a busy season wedding, which is like summer and fall, and you're going into December, you're probably about 9 months out. You're likely having hired most of your major vendors. You probably have the big 5 hired. You've got your photographer, you've got your venue, maybe catering, maybe a florist. Like you've got some really, like the big hitters are hired, but you're starting to get into this phase of what does it really look like? What does it really feel like? Nitty-gritty.
Details.
And that really kicks off in the new year. Like once the new year rolls around, oh, lights on.
Yes.
This is my year, 2025. Like let's go.
Let's dive in.
So use the holiday time. Use some downtime to dream. Be inspired. Like take a breather on all of the kind of procedurals of hiring vendors, signing contracts, and
sending emails,
all that. And just be inspired. Whether that's from, I don't know, movies or TV or books or Pinterest or
social media.
Like soak in a lot of inspiration and let that be guiding to you as you go into starting to really make decisions in the new year about what exactly you're doing. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to feel like you could have whatever you want. Like if I could have whatever I want, what would that look like? That's always my New Year's thing too, is like create a vision board. Make sure that you have a vision board for your wedding. What do you want out of it? That's the best way to know you're going to get it. And to not let this time pass you by, to dream. And then hit the ground running in the new year with how are we going to make it happen?
Yes. Taking that time to dream with your partner and enjoying it. Sometimes I find what happens is my couples at any point in their engagement process will take a couple weeks off and then get so down on themselves. They'll be apologize. I'm so sorry. I haven't done anything in a couple weeks. I didn't do anything over the holidays. That's okay. When you take that downtime, please enjoy it. It defeats the purpose of having downtime and relaxing if immediately you're hard on yourself.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't fully enjoy it. That break was good. I'm ready to get back into it.
And actually take a break. So often we go into a holiday setting and I find couples are like,
More frazzled than when I left them.
yeah, and they're
Yep.
trying to do all their wedding planning in 1 week in between Christmas and New Year's. And then they're frustrated because their vendors aren't getting back to them. Guess who's also having downtime and taking a break for the
Yes.
first time all year? So don't expect to hear from your vendors over the holidays. That is something that I find all the time. I will get so many emails that week. And I know it's because they're like, oh, I have a spare minute. I'm going to do all this wedding planning.
Yep.
Think about it. You're not going to hear back. Like, it's going to be even more frustrating. It doesn't have to happen right now. What if instead you did something fun?
Go bake cookies
Oh my gosh. What if instead you went on a date
with your partner.
and you dreamed about how excited you are? You sat and you looked at the stars and you thought about how excited you are for your wedding day.
Mhm.
What better could come out of that use of your time than frantically running around sending emails and trying to schedule meetings?
Refreshing it. Why didn't this person email me? I'm gonna send another one.
Can you sense that we experience this as wedding professionals? We do. Yes, we do.
And we will get to you.
Yep,
Do
we
not
will.
worry. We are here for you. We will get to you. But also, we've done a lot of weddings as well. We've done a lot of wedding planning.
Yeah.
And we want to take a week to also just hang out with our families, hang out with our partners, spend time at the holidays,
Yeah.
and just enjoy it as well. And we will get to you.
And
I promise.
this is kind of a perfect closing note that if you're listening to this podcast and you're in the wedding community as a vendor, which I love that we serve both audiences. I want this to be useful to vendors and couples alike.
Mhm.
Be clear with your couples that you're taking time off.
Yes.
Be abundantly clear through communication that, hey, you're not going to hear from me this week. I want you to be enjoying your family and I'm going to be enjoying mine, and we'll come back together in the new year.
Mhm.
We work hard on connecting with everybody prior to the holidays to let them know, like,
Mhm.
hey, we are taking some time off, but we will be ready to rock as soon as the new year turns around, and we'll be here for you, and here's how to use your time well.
Mhm.
So that's just a great little point for anybody who's listening to this that is a vendor, how to make sure that you're not spending your precious time worrying about responding to emails
Mhm.
on New Year's Eve.
Yep.
Because I've been there. Oh, I have been
Christmas Day, open a present. Oh,
Yeah. No
gotta
boundaries.
open my email too.
Yes. So boundaries all around. Well, recapping one last time, keep it positive, be gracious listeners, and hold steady and hold on to each other. And with all of that, we truly believe that you will survive the wedding planning holiday hell, that you will have a wonderful experience as your engaged holiday together before you're a married couple, and that you're going to kick off the new year so excited to continue planning and to truly manifest your dream wedding. So I hope that this episode has filled you full of just positive energy and excitement for the holidays and having a plan for how you're going to respond when you're inevitably hit with some wedding planning questions.
Mhm.
So thank you, Caitlin, for sitting with me today. I'm excited to come with our first bonus episode. And I will give you just a little preview that season 2 of the True North Weddings podcast is launching in early 2025. We have an amazing slate of guests lined up to talk about all things wedding planning, and to truly just make an amazing experience for you through the advice of seasoned wedding professionals and Caitlin and I. So get ready for more content from the True North Weddings podcast, and our Instagram page is going to have a lot of great content as well. So thank you for joining us on the first bonus episode of the True North Weddings podcast. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the True North Weddings podcast. I hope today's conversation has filled your heart with inspiration and excitement for your journey down the aisle. Remember, love is the compass that guides us all, and I'm here to help you navigate that every step of the way. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, keep following your true north. And if you need a little bit more help along the way, you can always find me at truenorthweddingsduluth.com. Remember, just by listening to this podcast, you're already pointed in the right direction.